Well, according to rumors, Chris Pratt is everything Marvel needs right now, and Pedro Pascal is everything they should be running from. You see, rumor has it that Chris Pratt connects with audiences. Well, that's not a rumor. Sells tickets and keeps his mouth shut when it matters. But Pedro Pascal, on the other hand, simply sparks outrage, pushes politics, and makes headlines for all the wrong reasons. Now, if Marvel wants to save Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, they just better wake up and make Chris Pratt the face of this franchise, because Chris Pratt brings fans in and Chris Pratt rebuilds trust, okay? And also, he actually gives people a reason to care again. All right. Now, as you all might have, remembered, Pedro Pascal went to the Cannes Film Festival and simply decided to go ahead and throw shades at millions of Americans. You see, his big message: fear is how they win. Who is they? Probably the regular working class people, apparently. And Pedro Pascal didn't even try to hide it. You see, he flat out said, fight back against who? You, me, everyone who supported, the Mandalorian. I mean, everyone who actually pays to see these movies, basically, that's who Pedro Pascal thinks is the enemy. Now, explain to me how that guy is supposed to sell Avengers Doomsday basically to the same people that he's actually insulting. All right. But well, apparently there's rumor that Marvel's executives know that this is a disaster, and the rumor has it that the Russo brothers, are stepping in. And word is they're looking to cut Pedro Pascal's screen time. And you know what? That's the smartest move right there that they could make so far, because in his place, they're thinking about giving more focus to Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt himself, the guy that Hollywood loves to hate because, simply put, he refuses to go ahead and play their political games. But the fans, we love him. We trust him. And more importantly, he can still sell a movie, unlike Pedro Pascal here. But now Pratt is everything basically that Pascal isn't. You see, he's relatable, funny, charismatic, and actually likable. And Pascal plays the same disinterested, half awake character in everything he's in, except for the first two seasons of The Mandalorian. He's like cinematic wallpaper, basically, kind of just there. Chris Pratt, on the other hand, brings energy. He actually connects, basically as Star-Lord. He made Jurassic World work even when the script didn't. Every Jurassic World movie made over $1 billion, and not because of some sort of DEI checklist, because Chris Pratt actually put butts in the seat. Fairly put. He was in that last Jurassic World movie, and that was a huge DEI mess and everything. People just went to see the movie because of Chris Pratt, and not the DEI mess that was in the movie. But anyway, there's actually no world where Pascal becomes the face of the Avengers and wins people back. You actually if you want to rebuild a franchise, then you build it around people who don't spit in your face. Pratt doesn't, come with the political baggage. You see, he don't even, insult the audience. He actually doesn't even rant about orange men or demand ideological purity tests. He just shows up, cracks a joke, and makes people smile. Doing it since Parks and Recreation. That's the kind of energy Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars need if they want to be, more than billion-dollar bombs, okay? But Marvel's actually spending obscene amounts of money on these next two Avengers movies. Now, if Pedro Pascal actually stays front and center, they're going to lose it all. This is the same studio that somehow thought that Rachel Zegler was going to go ahead and save Snow White. And look how that turned out. Now, Pratt, on the other hand, is their last shot at finding someone mainstream audiences will actually rally behind. And if they've got any, brains left, they'll actually sideline Pedro Pascal and push Pratt to the front of the line. Okay. Now, Chris Pratt has been through, the entire Marvel emotional gauntlet, basically. We've watched him, rise, fall, and redeem himself as Star-Lord across 3 Guardians movies and Infinity War, as well as Endgame. And there's a real story right there, a leader's arc. And Pedro Pascal, the guy's barely even memorable. Ask anyone to quote a line from one of his Star Wars roles and stuff, except "This is the way." You see, he's the cinematic tofu, basically. Takes shape of whatever's around him, but never actually adds anything or much of anything, basically. And don't forget about the chemistry between them and the fellow cast members. Chris Pratt looks like he could actually have a romantic arc with Sue Storm. He's got that rough around the edges charm the audiences buy into. Pascal, not so much. You see, he's so awkward around women in interviews. He makes Joaquin Phoenix look like Casanova, basically. Now, Marvel needs sparks between its leads, and nothing about Pedro Pascal seems or screams romantic lead. You see, it's more like guy who shows up late to the set and mumbles through the dialogue. I mean, I know he has like a new, romantic movie coming out and stuff with Chris Evans and Dakota Johnson and everything, but I'm not excited about that either. But then there's also the factor about masculinity. You see, Chris Pratt still feels like an action hero. He's played the Navy SEAL in the Terminal List, and it was one of the biggest shows on Amazon Prime. Pedro Pascal, on the other hand, he's basically got all the grit of a granola bar. The toughest, most masculine role I've ever seen Pedro Pascal play was the Mandalorian itself. Now, Chris Pratt is what you want when you're trying to reboot a franchise that's versatile, proven, and magnetic. Pedro Pascal, on the other hand, is what you get when you let Twitter cast your movies, basically. And guess what? I mean, honestly put, Pratt isn't just, marketable, he's connected. He's close friends with, the head of DC Studios, all right? He's also got influence, he's got options, and if Marvel doesn't use him properly, well, don't be surprised if Warner Brothers actually swoops in and gives him a role, okay, that makes Marvel look like a joke. Now, right now, the clock is definitely ticking, and Pascal is the ticking time bomb. Pratt is a lifeline. So, which one of do you think the fans are going to pick? Let me know your thoughts for that in the comments below. But even if Marvel has already committed to Pascal and Doomsday, they can still pivot in Secret Wars. I mean, make Pratt the centerpiece right there. Build around Star-Lord at least. I mean, he's got history, he's got heart, and audiences actually care about, what happens to him. Now, you think that anyone's emotionally invested in, Pascal's Reed Richards, the Fantastic Four reboot is already dead on arrival, okay? Now, honestly, there's no zero hype, and Pedro Pascal doesn't move the needle itself, and that needle definitely needs some moving. Now, Pedro Pascal is Hollywood's favorite Instagram activist, but nobody pays to watch that. You see, he's got no comedic timing, no emotional pull. Pratt, on the other hand, can anchor an ensemble cast without making it about himself. He can basically play off Tom Holland, where he can match the energy with Hugh Jackman, and Pedro Pascal can barely hold a scene without dragging it down like basically an anchor around Marvel's neck. And that's really sad right there. But at this point, it's about survival right now. If Marvel keeps betting on Pascal, they're betting on audience apathy. If they go with Pratt, they're betting on comeback energy, nostalgia, likability, momentum. I mean, you put Star-Lord front and center with, some smart writing and suddenly where you got something people might actually want to go ahead and see. Not some sort of DEI fever dream with Pascal delivering monologues to an empty theater. Okay? And that's me putting it lightly. Now, Pascal has made it crystal clear where he doesn't like the fans who support a certain person. Pratt still respects the audience. He shows up to fan events. He even promotes his movies without preaching politics. Okay, and he's the kind of guy who that dads will be bringing to the kids to the theaters to see. And you better believe that if you don't get dads back in the theaters, well, guess what? You're not getting the family either. Okay, and without families, I mean, simply put, Marvel's $1 billion dream becomes a $1 billion joke. Okay, now, honestly, Chris Pratt also doesn't carry the same controversy load. You see, he's not running around attacking half of the country or getting into drama over pronouns and politics. You see, he just acts, he works, he's a professional. And Pascal actually brings drama everywhere he goes. And, not the kind that actually sells tickets, the kind that makes your stock drop, basically. I mean, look at what happened with Gina Carano. Look at what happened. Look at how Pascal handled that. Marvel still hasn't recovered. You see, why double down on a guy who's burned you before? Okay. And also, this isn't about, whether Pedro Pascal is a nice guy off screen. This is about who's the better face for a $1 billion franchise. Chris Pratt he doesn't just show up, he delivers. And I'm not saying replace, Chris Pratt with as Reed Richards, but actually do it without alienating your audience and stuff or your base. You see, that right there is simply common sense. The fan is sick of being insulted, sick of being taken for granted. Chris Pratt gets that, okay? And Pedro Pascal doesn't, all right? And the fact of the matter still remains that Marvel has one shot to go ahead and turn things around. You see, one shot to pull off another in-game level hit. And if they're serious, then they'll realize that Chris Pratt is also the only name on the board who can do it. All right. Now, Pedro Pascal is a gamble and a bad one. The audience has moved on. And if Marvel doesn't, then they deserve what's coming to them. Okay. They deserve what's coming next. And that's a box office crater. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button in the video if you enjoyed what was shared. And also be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications. And I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.